So I hope you could hear there that the notes I was playing, my bass line and the fill, remain completely consistent. I didn't change those notes at all. I'm taking the thought out of the exercise. I have my bass line, I have my fill, and I'm dialing in to what the harmony is doing. And what happened in that second iteration was that instead of both things being over C minor pentatonic, and our fill in C minor pentatonic on both chords, the bass line was over C minor 7, but then the chord went up a half step to D flat major 7 for the fill. And not only did it work, like harmonically speaking, but I think it sounded really good. I love the sound of that minor pentatonic over a major chord. We touched upon that concept in the previous video in this series. And in this video, I'm going to go into a bunch of options to keep the thought out of the process while you get this into your ears and under your fingers. We're going to stick with exactly the same notes. That's our bass line. That's our fill. All C minor pentatonic. And as we move through each step of the exercise, we're going to encounter different chords in the second bar. You've heard our first one. We moved up to D flat major 7 and didn't change our melodic content. We stayed firmly in C minor pentatonic. Why does that work? Well, the first note of the fill is F, which is the major third of the major chord. So already super inside that new sound. Second note is E flat. That's the ninth, the natural ninth, also a very inside note. The one kind of outside note, if you will, is that G natural. It's the fifth of C minor, but it becomes the sharp 11 of D flat. Now, remember to work at your own pace. These are a lot of words to describe something that's actually very simple. And the last thing I want to do is cloud your mind with theory. The whole purpose of this exercise is to lock in the notes and be able to forget about them and really understand how they feel over these changing chords in the second bar of the 2-bar phrase. I know there are going to be folks out there who want the theory, who want the explanation. That's why I'm going to break down how this melodic line works over all of these different chords. But I would really encourage you to almost kind of ignore the theory to start out with. Trust the process, get into the exercise, get that really simple lick under your fingers and just go through and feel and hear what that sounds like in each different context. I'm using an exercise from my book, The Bass Player's Guide to Pentatonics. It's on page 34. It's minor pentatonic bass line with reharm fill. I had to give it a title, right? Again, lots of words to describe something very simple. If you want to dig deeper into any of this or get the play along that you're hearing me work with, that's all included in the book. It's linked below in the description of the video. Now, we've had our D flat. Our next one is E flat major 7. It's up a whole step from there. All of these notes are very much inside and diatonic to E flat. We don't get that sharp 11 that sticks out. It's actually quite diatonic. Major third, 9, root, 6. So that's E flat. We then move on to F minor 7. So, and then we go, and we get again very inside notes. Again, very quickly on the theory side, when it's F minor 7 as a chord and we have this same lick, we have the root, the flat 7, the 5, and the natural 9. Those are the notes that from our C minor pentatonic that are in relation to F minor 7. Our next pair of chords become C minor 7 to A flat major 7. And as we go through this, I really want you to be aware of how this never really sticks out. It never really sounds angular. It doesn't sound disjointed. To me, the sound of this minor pentatonic flows so well over all of these chords. That's why I chose them for all of the exercises. I think they are prime examples of how to expand your harmonic knowledge and your sort of melodic sensibility for both your bass lines and your fills without having to learn a ton of new stuff. Remember, we haven't learned anything new in terms of one minor pentatonic scale, and we're sticking with that same key center through all of these different chords. So perhaps another exercise you might want to think about, expand upon this one, is forget about the C minor. Forget about the first chord in the sequence and just go through all of our other chords. We had D flat, we had E flat, we had F minor. Now we're up to A flat. If you have a loop pedal, you could actually sequence that. So now we don't have any C minor 7 harmony going on, but we're still playing C minor pentatonic, and it still works over all of these chords. This is how we expand our harmonic sensibilities. This is how we expand interest in our bass lines. And with that, let's move on and cover these last two chords in the exercise. The next one is B flat sus. So the quick harmonic breakdown is that our lick as it relates to B flat sus is the 5th, the sus, the 4, the 6, and the 9. And our very last one I'll move the bass over to play it up in the upper register of the instrument here, is E flat in its first inversion. It's E flat over its major third. So E flat over G. I think that's a really beautiful sound. And again, I would maybe just go through and find each chord, play it once like that, play the line. Go to the next one, E flat, F minor, and we had A flat, oops, and then we have B flat sus, and we just came upon E flat over G. And then let's ground ourselves again in C minor, just to remind ourselves of the key center. But so many exercises within exercises. Again, work at your own pace. Don't feel like you have to go through this at light speed. Don't feel like you have to get it right away. Be honest with yourself about where you are in the process. Do you still need to work on getting that bass line together? Do you need to work on the transition of getting up to the fill and then getting back down to the bass line? Ask yourself those questions. If something is failing in the process, ask yourself what exactly that is. Is it a transition point? Is it a fretting, a fingering thing? Is it a confidence thing with the upper register of the instrument to play that fill? Is it a seating position thing? Does something feel uncomfortable? There are many ways to troubleshoot, and perhaps that's one of the biggest elements of my practice routine when I work on anything, this or any kind of music, is to just be fully aware of what's going on, aware of the notes, aware of the harmony, aware of myself, aware of the instrument, and ultimately aware of how trusting I am in the process.